everyone. Good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're joining us. It's a pleasure to be here, day 4 of the E-Africa Challenge. And I'm really excited because today we're going to be meeting some really amazing speakers, and then we're going to launch the jam. The hackathon starts today. And yeah, as you know, the E-Africa Challenge is all about getting creatives to get involved in solving social issues. And this year we'll be looking at climate change. And since it's a jam about climate change, who better to speak to us than someone, an industry lead that has organized several game jams on climate change out there in the world globally. Please, guys, I'm pleased to introduce you to our first speaker for today, Tim Cullings.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah. A quick intro about Tim. I don't know so much about him, so we'll be doing the proper introduction of himself. But then Tim is the co-founder of Games for Future. He's also at Seattle Indies, and he's one of the organizers of the Climate Jam, which was one of the first things I looked at, and I really got excited, and I was like, yeah, we can do this as well. Let's also get our own creatives on board. And I shared Climate Jam information to lots of creatives. And when we're looking at the E-Africa Challenge, we said, let's start out with climate because that's a big issue right now globally.
Absolutely.
So guys, Tim Cullings. Tim, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Tim Cullings, and today I'm going to talk about building creative projects for climate change. I'll mainly be focusing on the hackathon jam that some of you are about to begin, and we'll be working on for the next 48 hours, since that is my background with both Global Game Jam, Climate Jam, Games for Our Future. I have a little presentation here. Hopefully you can see that.
Okay, it's showing already.
Cool.
Let me see. Let's awesome. So I'm going to leave the screen so that the presentation is more visible.
Got it. Thanks.
Wow. Awesome.
So yeah, a little bit about me. I have 11 years in the games industry. As Oscar mentioned, I'm the co-founder of Games for Our Future, along with some friends at the University of Washington here in Seattle, and the Pacific Science Center, which is a science museum also in Seattle, Washington. I am the board president of Seattle Indies, which is a nonprofit organization in the Seattle, Washington area that hosts events like game jams and other social events and provides networking for independent game developers and anybody who wishes to pursue games as a hobby or profession in the Seattle area. I'm currently the director of operations for Global Game Jam, which some of you may have participated in and or heard about in your part of the world. I'm a board member for the IGDA, as well as work with IGDA Seattle to help also make events for professional game devs in the area. And then prior to joining Global Game Jam, I worked at Oculus for 6 years, helping ship everything from the original Rift all the way up to the Quest 2 and more in between. And then prior to that, I made a few games at a small company called Airtight Games. We did a game called Quantum Conundrum, as well as Murdered Soul Suspect. Today we're going to talk about what led me to make Games for Our Future and how you can become someone who does it for yourself. The climate crisis evokes a lot of emotions in people, so let's talk about the emotions you get from the way that Hollywood and mainstream media and video games portray the crisis currently. So here you see some mainstream Hollywood films like 2012, The Day After Tomorrow, An Inconvenient Truth, which was a documentary. These are like mainly disaster films and documentaries where hopelessness and despair reign supreme. And the main emotion that tends to be evoked from these types of films is fear, basically. Fear of the unknown, fear of massive disasters changing our world forever. With the news media today, you see unparalleled fires, floods, winter storms, droughts. This is what the main coverage is of extreme weather brought on by climate change, and it's definitely something that people need to be informed about, as these things are likely to cause major changes in where and how we live in the coming decades, and are already causing changes for a lot of us today that we have to deal with on a daily basis. But again, people mainly are feeling fear from this type of thing, and rightfully so, I suppose. The climate crisis, as it's depicted in a lot of popular current video games like Mad Max, Horizon Zero Dawn, and a recent game called The Climate Trail, are mostly you see fear, survival, desolation, isolation, the unknown, return to primitive times, a lot of scary things for people to try and wrap their heads around, and the portrayal of our future that is not the greatest. After climate disasters cause an apocalypse, this is what people are seeing as something that could be a potential future for us here on Earth. But now we have people that are trying to change this conversation through games. The UN started playing for the planet with major game companies like Rovio, who make Angry Birds, getting involved, and many other large game companies around the world have signed on to be involved in this, promoting. They're making games that promote climate change awareness, as well as the companies themselves pledging to be more environmentally friendly in how they do their work. We also have the IGDA Climate Special Interest Group, which is a recently formed group under the International Game Developers Association. And they're doing great work bringing the community of climate change concerned game developers together to raise awareness for the issue. And they're also working on building standards around representing climate change related issues in games. And then there's also the IndieCade Climate Jam, which we mentioned earlier, that I've helped organize the past 2 of those. And the goal of that is really to bring game developers and researchers together to come up with solutions for the current crisis, creative solutions using video games to show the research in a way that people can connect with, that is not as daunting as maybe reading a couple 100-page research paper. Instead, you can sit down and play a video game for 10 to 15 minutes and really learn something important based on research that the climate researchers have done, and they've been happy to share with us, and really have been a benefit to our community to learn from as well. Another way we're changing the conversation is with more hopeful and modern games like Eco and Beyond Blue that are changing the way we think about climate change and the implications and what we can and need to do as a society to both prepare for and prevent more damage as much as we can. And then we have streamers like my friend Megan, who goes by the handle Eco-Friendly-ish on Twitch, who are giving these games more exposure to a larger audience and bringing on renowned experts and scientists to their streams to talk about the real-world impact these games are having and what players can learn from them. But to me, the most important emotion that we need to convey as creators with our creative projects is hope. As our little minion friend is here saying, hope is the little voice you hear whisper maybe when it seems the entire world is shouting no. The world is filled with a lot of negativity, but people want to be inspired and feel hopeful, and that will lead to a better future for all of us, rather than fear and isolation and despair that we see so often in the disaster, apocalyptic type future that is portrayed in a lot of media and video games. So a little bit about Games for Our Future and where we came from. We started in 2017 by a group from Seattle Indies, University of Washington, in the Science Center, as I mentioned. We started as an idea for just a simple meet and greet between game developers and research scientists to see what they could learn from each other, but quickly we decided to pivot that idea into a full-on series of events that ended up with the Game Jam in 2018, and has now become something that the game developers in Seattle look forward to every year, as well as we've expanded out to larger groups through Indiecade and doing the Jam online. In 2018, we had 55 people join us at the Science Center in Seattle, making games about surviving climate change. The following year, we had 75 join us again in the Science Center, and we did our theme then was creating a green tomorrow. And then the last 2 years, as I mentioned, we've been online due to the pandemic, and we're fortunate enough to team up with our friends at Indiecade to bring more people from around the world together to make games about climate change, and bring scientists and researchers from around the world together with us to help make some amazing games. And we've had teams of people that have never met each other before, who just met online and have a common cause and belief that this is an important issue, and want to help make games about it to help raise awareness and show people what they can do and learn from video games in a way that maybe other media can't teach us. And then for next year, we're hopefully working on a hybrid version of in-person and online that will be running in the spring of next year for Climate Jam / Games for Our Future. So why video games for this topic? We believe this generation of creators cares deeply about the environment and has the power to inspire action through games. And games are interactive and a great teaching tool for people of all ages. They help build empathy and pathways to connect with other people and cultures you may normally not be exposed to. They break down language and generational barriers and give us a common ability to understand important concepts. And everyone plays and understands games these days, from young and old. So we should use them to help teach people important concepts in a way that's fun to learn and hopefully memorable for people and impactful. So let's talk about how to have a successful hackathon or jam. You have 48 hours to make something in your hackathon, and so here's some tips and tricks that I've learned throughout the years of hosting jams to make sure you have a very successful experience. Minimize your scope to something too simple. Think Flappy Bird here, not Final Fantasy. When you're building a jam game or a hackathon project, you have limited time to implement features. So keep it simple. Focus on the main thing you're trying to teach your players and polish that idea as much as you possibly can until it's fun and gets your point across. You're not going to make the next, massively multiplayer online World of Warcraft game in the next 48 hours, but hopefully you'll make something with a solid mechanic that's fun and playable, and people can hopefully learn a little something about climate change in the process and come away feeling inspired. Start locally. Climate change is a massive problem with global implications, but as individuals, it's really hard to think about and the impact on our own. So think about how climate change is impacting you and your community in the present day. From extreme weather to flood to food and water shortages, these are all things that people can relate to. So think about the things you can do or have had to do as a result of climate change, and try to focus your ideas on those things to have an impact on your audience. The idea of meeting people where they're at is important to me. So think about, to think about that while you're working on your project, since it will have more of a lasting effect on people and be easier for them to connect with. There's no wrong way to make a game jam game, so don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try new things, have fun, get uncomfortable, get outside of your comfort zone. Some of the best ideas came from game jam at game jams have come from things that seemed like a bug or a mistake at the time. Like Goat Simulator here was just full of bugs and was a quick game jam thing that turned into something wildly popular, and they just embraced the bugginess and the wackiness of it. So don't be afraid to try new things and make mistakes while you're building your project or making your game. Just have some fun with it, and don't take things too seriously. Just enjoy what you're working on is what I'm trying to say. Recycle, repurpose, and reuse. This is a hackathon about climate change and environmentalism. So use as much existing tech, code, assets, whatever you have in order to finish your project faster. Don't try to build things from scratch if you don't have to. You don't have time for that. Use things that you have already made or other people have made. Fail fast and iterate on your idea until it is good. Ask questions. Always ask questions when you're at a hackathon or a game jam. Use your online resources and your fellow jammers for help. You're all in this together, and this should be a great learning experience for everyone. So if you need help, just ask for it. Or if you have an answer, take some time and help out your fellow jammer. It's always great to take a little time out and help someone new and help them come and learn something, and maybe they'll want to come back, and the next game jam they'll be the ones teaching other people the things that they learned at a jam, and the community just grows that way. As the more you help, the more people will be willing to help, I have found. So that's always my motto at a game jam, is to just be kind to others and make everyone feel welcome no matter what their skill level is. This is a chance for everyone to improve and learn from each other. Communicate and work together. Make sure you are in a constant communication with your team and that everyone is working together towards the same goal. Time is short at a hackathon, and if one person falls out of touch with the group, the whole project can stall and fail. So having regular check-ins with each other and staying in contact throughout the hackathon will be the key to a successful experience. It is a great way to learn from each other and make lasting friendships too. Just like climate change, no one person is going to solve this problem on their own. So work with your team and you will have a great time. Get inspired. Movies and games are also a great way to inspire hope to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles in life and in the world, and give people hope that if they see their heroes on screen do something, that they can do it too. If you need help with facts related to climate change related issues, there are lots of resources online, from Playing for the Planet, as I mentioned, Indicate's Climate Jam mentor videos, and so much more are made and aimed at game developers and hackathon participants like yourself. So the information is out there, and people have done a lot of work on games like these already. So you can use what you have at your fingertips there online to find some inspiration for your project. Have fun. That's the main points of a jam or a hackathon experience. Climate change is a serious topic with serious real-world implications, but hackathons are meant to be fun. Don't burn yourself out trying to make the best game ever, or make the best game or project you can over the next 48 hours, and make something that you enjoy and want to engage with yourself. People want to learn about climate change and how it is going to impact their lives and what they can do to both cope with it and make things better for themselves and future generations. But if they get to have fun while they're doing it, they're likely to get more out of it. And that's the main thing we're trying to do here, is both have some fun while you're working on your projects and hope that the people that engage with your project at the end have fun themselves and change the world. I saw this quote on the website for eAfrica Challenge, and I really connected with that. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. And you might not have superpowers like the Avengers, but your superpower is to make something fun and bring people together to learn important concepts about climate change and how it is impacting their lives. We all need to be a part of this fight together, and together is the only way we will win. It's definitely a problem that is currently and will be impacting our entire world, and it's something that we all of us need to work on. And we're all very creative people here with creative ideas, and you never know which one of those might spark someone to come up with a real powerful solution to the issues that we're all facing together. And hopefully, as you work on your project this weekend, you'll be thinking about that and thinking about how you can change the world with just your small little fun time that you're going to have this coming next 48 hours. So yeah, as you can see here, I have some contact information, and you can find me, I'm sure, on their website. On Twitter, I'm Tim Cullings. We also have a Games for Our Future Twitter, and there's a whole bunch of different email and websites and LinkedIn and all those ways to find me.
Thanks a lot for that, Tim. Thanks so much for that. That was a wonderful presentation. And yeah, I think we will look forward to organizing future challenges together much more closely. Let's co-create, let's share resources. When you have jams, when we have jams, we can work together. Seeing
Absolutely.
that you're really, really in the industry, various aspects of the industry, and I like what you're doing. You're really making so much of change. And thanks so much once more for coming. For the jam, the participants have been asked to go through a course on UNCC Learn. That's a platform by United Nations, and they have a course on climate change. So we already have some participants completing the course. The idea was to get them to at least be better informed about what they are building. And we're not making it a competition. We want people to have fun, just as you have said. So we'd love to see at the end, we hope to have lots of games, because some people are busy, but they've registered and it's like an hobbyist kind of event for them. But we'd also love to have you come on board and see if you could help us grade some of these games, give feedback to the creators, because from experience, say our last Gameathon, we saw some people move further with their jam projects, and that's really something exciting to see. So I hope you'll be able to spare time to do that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be thrilled to. And that's great that the UN has that program now. I mean, when we started Games for Our Future, there wasn't anything like that. So we had to reach out to researchers in our area and have them come do short presentations about their work and speak with our developers directly. But that's hard to do, and not everybody has that kind of that level of access to researchers in their area. So having an online resource that the UN has created is excellent. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah. Okay then. So thanks so much. It was a pleasure having you. Thanks. We're going to reach out to you with the games, with everything created. We're going to share them to you. So there will be a post-event activity. And yeah, do have a lovely afternoon. Thanks so much for coming, Tim.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.